Hello, 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 beautiful people. I am your favorite host, Rose Gold. If I am not your favorite host, you are very fake and you have no taste in host at all. But welcome to another episode of Heartbreak Hill podcast. Now, today we are going to be talking about a pretty personal topic, okay? And it is the topic of plastic surgery. Okay, now the title of today's episode is called Before the BBL. Now, even though I do have that as a title, kind of for shock value, it is more so in terms of plastic surgery as a whole, any type of enhancements. Okay, and we all know that plastic surgery does have a spectrum. So some people get plastic surgery to get things removed. Some people get plastic surgery to get things added. We're going to talk about it today. Okay. Now, you guys already know, if you are just now tuning in, that this is something that we like to do at the beginning of all of our videos. And, well, let me just go ahead. Just make sure you keep it locked.
Yo. It's your girl Rose Gold, and thank you for tuning in for an episode of Heartbreak Hill Podcast. Here, we are breaking hearts and blowing minds, one conversation at a time. Catch us weekly on all podcast platforms. Beginning February of 2022, catch us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Comcast Channel 17. Don't forget, if you have an email or a question you would like to have read on air, please send us an email to hbhp@heartbreakhillpodcast.com. While you're at it, don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at Heartbreak Hill Podcast. Now let's break some hearts and blow some minds, shall we?
Hello, beautiful people. If you are just now joining us, my name is Rose Gold. I am your wonderful host, and you're tuned in to another episode of Heartbreak Hill Podcast. Now, today we are talking about Before the BBL. Okay, I almost got beside myself before the intro video played, but I have an exciting announcement to let you guys know. If you are thinking about starting a podcast, if you have a podcast already in motion and you want to know how to get it to TV, how to get it to radio, how to bring it to the next level, we are now offering one-on-one services for you all to be able to do that. Okay, all you have to do is send us an email. The email is always in the description of this episode, and we will go ahead and we will get you covered. We will get you started very affordable. We're not, charging people thousands of dollars. Really and truly, the cost that we do charge is for the time and the effort of the people that you'll be meeting with and the cost of production. Okay, so very, very affordable. All right, now before the BBL, there's some things that you need to know. Now, before I get into telling you the things that you need to know, what's that sound? I think that's Daily De Niro. It is Daily De Niro. Before I get into today's content, I am coming to you with Daily De Niro, where we give you helpful and interesting tips for your body, for your bag, and for your Bible. Okay? Now, and getting started with our Daily De Niro, we have the word of the week. Okay, now the word for the week is indolent. Okay, indolent. If you are watching us on social media platforms, on our YouTube channel, I should say, you see that word across the screen. It is indolent. Okay, indolent. It is an adjective that means lazy. Okay, so the indolent child did not get their allowance. Okay. She left her last boyfriend because he was indolent. The mother was not neglecting her children. She was just indolent. Okay, go ahead and add that to your list of words, that you can throw out whenever you want to seem a little bit sophisticated, or if you're like me and you curse too much and you need other things to say, there you go. Okay, so Daily De Niro, for your body, did you guys know that there may be clones coming soon? Okay, stem cell research has also reached other intriguing and much debated heights this year. In August of 2022, so this was just last year, 2 different research teams reported having successfully created embryo models in the laboratory using no sperm and egg cells, okay, but stem cells. Okay, so let me repeat that. Just last summer, in August of 2022, okay, 2 different research teams, okay, reported that they were able to create a human embryo without using sperm and without using eggs, but only stem cells. Okay, the embryo models managed to develop structures including a heartbeat, blood stem cell circulation, and head region with folds, and the beginning of a gut tube. So that means that this is an actual developing human that was able to be created in a lab without the need or without the help of another human being. You guys, that is craziness. Okay, that's something I ain't gonna call it crazy, but I ain't gonna call it sane. Okay, we got literally clones coming. Okay, now, and some advice for your bag, the 50-30-20 rule. Okay, this is a rule that I came across in Forbes. Well, not me, my researcher came across in Forbes magazine that I thought it was very interesting to share. I think I'm going to actually start implementing this. But if you're not sure how to budget, start by choosing a system that you will stick with. Okay, we like the 50-30-20 budget plan. Okay, and what that means is that you allocate 50% of your income for your needs. Okay, that's your car payment, your house, your rent, your food, whatever it is. So 50% of your money every month will go towards your income. 30% will go towards your wants. That is the stuff that you can definitely live without. And then 20% will go for savings and debt repayment. Okay, so you could split that 20% up to do, for savings, and then another 10% you could do for debt income. But 50-30-20 is how you want to be splitting your money up. Okay, now the budget calculator divides your income into these categories. And to get these percentages, you want to take your income and you want to multiply it by the decimal of the percentage. So if you make, $2,000 a month, to figure out 50% of that, you're going to take 0.5 on your calculator and times it by 2,000. To figure out what 20% of your income is, you're going to take your monthly income and you're going to times it by 0.20. And then to get 30% of your income, you're going to do the same thing. Take 2,000 or however much money you make in a month, and you're going to times it by 0.30. Now, I know some of y'all are listening like, why is she telling us how to do math? Hey, I didn't always know how to do percentages. Okay, I'm not ashamed to say math was not my strong suit. I knew how to count money and that's it. But as far as decimals and percentages, not my forte. So I just gave you the math on how to do it. 50-30-20. Take those numbers, turn them into decimals, and multiply them by your income, and you're going to get how much you should be spending in each of those categories. They show that this is actually a very popular method among millionaires and among people who are getting ready to retire. They use the 50-30-20 rule. Okay. Now, last but certainly never least, the Bible topic of today. So the sinner's Bible was a difference. What a difference one little word can make. In 1631, once English language Bibles were finally legal, okay, because Bibles have not always been legal, publisher Robert Baker came out with a version most notable for its omission of a certain word in the 7th commandment. Okay, thou shalt commit adultery. So instead of the Bible saying thou shalt not commit adultery, this Bible actually said thou shalt commit adultery. Now, this Bible fact was actually on one of the previous seasons, but I just thought this was so funny. I had to bring this back. So about 1,000 copies of the Sinner's Bible, aka the Adulterer's Bible or the Wicked Bible, were distributed before anybody noticed. Okay, we will never know how many people obeyed that amended commandment. Okay, but 400 years later, there are only 9 copies of this particular Bible left. Okay, this riddle in the book of Judges gives us one of the most interesting Bible facts. Okay, and the commandments that they're referring to was the 10 commandments that was given to one of the prophets in the Old Testament, and one of them was you shall not commit adultery, but this one said you shall. Can you imagine being a pastor reading the 10 commandments to your congregation and you come across one that says thou shalt commit adultery? I don't know, I just thought that was so funny. But like most things, God was able to clean it on up, so I don't want to hear it. All right, keep it locked, and we will get into today's content before the BBL. Okay.
Heartbreak Hill podcast is made possible only by the donations of viewers and listeners just like you. If you would like to find out other ways that you can support the show, please take a look at the description of today's episodes. Liking or sharing our videos or our podcast ratings is also another way that you can help support. Speak Minneapolis Network is a network located in Minneapolis, Minnesota that brings media to people like you and me. Please check the show notes for more information on Speak Minneapolis. The war in Ukraine is still going on, people. If you are looking for an organization that actually places the funds that you donate to the war, please check out United.24. This organization not only helps the troops, but it also sends supports to immigrants who have been displaced from Ukraine due to the war. Check the show notes for more information. If you're looking for a way to volunteer this summer or possibly forever, take a look at Engine. Engine is a program that was created by Ukrainian American Katrina Manoff. This organization helps to teach English to Ukrainian immigrants who have been possibly displaced by the war. More information is available in the description of today's episode.
All right. Thank you so much for joining. If you are just now getting in here, today's topic is before the BBL. Okay. A lot of people, it is very popular surgery. And for those of you who are not sure what a BBL is a Brazilian butt lift. And it's where they take fat out of certain parts of your body and they inject it into your butt to give it a more rounder or more protruding appearance. Some people get their hips filled in. You can do a lot of different things with it, but the essential point of a BBL, Brazilian butt lift, is to give you a fuller or bigger bottom, right? That is the point. Now, this message was not supposed to be aired for another few months, but just in light of everything that's going on in terms of the BBL conversation, I think it needs to be talked about. And the only time I really hear people talking about plastic surgery on social media in this type of way, on radio and podcasting, is when they're downing it or when they're trying to make, women who have natural bodies superior to people who do not have natural bodies. And so there's before I get into today's content, there are 4 things that I need you guys to know about BBLs. Okay. Not all women who get BBLs get them because they want to impress a man. Okay. That's not always what that means. Some women want to do it because they've had children. Some women want to do it because they feel that it will enhance their career. I will say that a lot of times enhancements are instigated by opinions of men. That's not for every woman, but just don't ever blatantly assume, because you hear a lot of these conversations say that women who get it is because they hate themselves. No. Women who get BBLs, it's not all the time it's because they hate themselves. It's because they have the money to do it and they want to look a certain type of way. Now, the reason why some women get BBLs is because a man has put that in their mind. They have, maybe grew up as the fat kid all of their lives. They never were really happy with their bodies. Now they have the money and the resources. They have a program now where you could even get BBLs on credit. It's easy accessible. It's not like the 90s and the early 2000s where you had to, only A-list celebrities had the option to get plastic surgery. No, this is something that people can do. Okay, so that's the first myth that I kind of wanted to debunk. The second myth about BBLs is that plastic surgery in itself is a very wide spectrum. So when you hear people talking about plastic surgery or getting their body done, it's not always a BBL. If somebody is talking about cosmetic surgery, which just means surgery on your body, some people are getting things removed. So it's not like a one-stop shop. People who get plastic surgery are not just these shallow, vain creatures, okay? Bunion removal in some instances. For example, if you want to get a bunion removed off of your foot and it's not hurting you, but you just don't like the way it looks, that is cosmetic surgery. If you had a child and you have a hanging lower abdomen, that is plastic surgery that you would get to get that taken off. There's all different kind of things. If you suffer from headaches very badly and you get Botox, that is cosmetic surgery. So plastic surgery has a very wide spectrum. And I just really want to be clear that not everybody who gets plastic surgery is vain. It crosses over into vanity when you sacrifice your integrity in order to get it. So like if you have to commit fraud to get your plastic surgery, if you have to scam somebody to get it, if you have to lie, in them type of ways in order to get it, then it's vanity, because at that point you're sacrificing your integrity to get it. And women that I know personally that have done that, they're not happy with their results anyway. So I just wanted to clear that up, that not all people who get plastic surgery are vain. Okay. Next thing, plastic surgery or getting surgery overseas is not cheaper. You hear people saying stuff like, people go over to the Dominican Republic because it's cheaper. It's not cheaper. You end up paying around the same price, if not a little bit less. And the reason why I say that is because when you get plastic surgery, like for example, if you went and got a BBL in a DR, the surgery itself might cost about $5,000. But there's a whole nother $5,000 to $6,000 that you have to pay in terms of aftercare, labs, nurses to take care of you, medications, and supplies. Okay. So you end up roughly paying about the same amount. You just pay for it in different ways, if that makes sense. So when somebody tells you that they're going across the sea, even Turkey, for example, when I was having a consult last year, I was going to get my teeth done in Turkey. They quoted me about $7,000 to get it done. All 32. Well, I didn't want all 32. I wanted the top 4 and then the bottom 4 so that it could be even, right? My bottom teeth are actually pretty straight. But I didn't end up getting it done because I couldn't get it done without getting my gap closed. And I like my gap. But, the person that I was doing my consult with, the dentist, she was like, look, there's no way I can give you a perfect smile without closing the gap. And so I just did away with it. But anyway, back on track. They quoted me about $12,000. Okay. Now, when you factor in how much I was quoted here in the US, they told me about $18,000 to get what I needed done as far as veneers, right? And the type of veneers that I wanted. Now that seems cheaper, but guess what? I still would have had to pay for my flight to Turkey and back. I still would have had to pay for my accommodations. I still would have had to pay for my overnight person, because after they do a lot of times, well, at least in my case for Turkey, they weren't going to just send me home. They were going to let me stay overnight for observation. So it ended up being about the same price. So I just want you guys to know that when you hear a person talking about getting plastic surgery overseas, it's not all the time. It's not cheaper usually. Okay. It's usually for other reasons. For example, I know that a lot of women go to the DR, even when I was doing some research of my own. And when I was working for the plastic surgeon that I was working for in Miami, I was a consult person for 1.5 years when I was doing my undergrad. The results are different. There are certain, and that doesn't make it any more or less dangerous. Okay. BBL is a dangerous surgery in general, but I'm just saying that to say, don't automatically think when somebody is going overseas that it's because it's cheaper. That's usually not what it is. It usually has something to do with either the results or with something that they want specifically done that they can't get done in the US. Okay. But that doesn't mean that it's illegal. There are board certified surgeons overseas. There are board certified dentists. My dentist that I was going to go to in Turkey, she's certified in Turkey and in the United States of America. A lot of doctors in the Dominican Republic, or that for like getting your body done, they are certified here in the United States and certified over there. So just get that out your mind. Okay. Last myth that I want to debunk before I get into the game I want to give you is that getting surgery in another country is not why people die. There have been several instances, and I don't need to state the obvious, but one that we know that was pretty public, several instances of people who get plastic surgery done in the United States and they pass away. It's not usually the surgery itself that makes people pass away. Generally, what it is the underlying health issues, the aftercare, the things that just do not, even though you get evaluations before you get your surgery, there are things that can possibly come up. So to say that, the surgeries are why people are dying, or getting it done over in another country is why people are dying, is not the case. BBL is a very dangerous surgery. You sign paperwork that tells you could possibly die from this surgery. And there's multiple reasons for that. Part of the reason is, the vein that it can hit. Another problem is, during your healing process, you can get blood clots that could travel. Just be clear that people don't automatically die because they get surgery overseas. Just want to debunk that. Okay. Now, getting into today's content. There are some things that you must know before you go and get a BBL. or any type of enhancement surgery. For those of you who are thinking about getting liposuction or tummy tucks, getting things taken away, I'm not so much talking to that portion of the surgery pool. I'm talking to people that are maybe thinking about getting their behinds enhanced, getting a BBL, maybe getting some bigger breasts. Maybe you want to get a nose job. Maybe you want to get, there's a surgery in Atlanta. I just was seeing I was just at a studio. One of the girls, she got, dimple implants in her face. She went and got dimple surgery. Before you do these types of enhancements to your body, there's some things that I want you to know that nobody is probably going to tell you. And I kind of said this before. The insight that I have on this is I know 5 women total who have had BBL surgeries, including breast enhancements. I also know women who have had things done to their face in terms of nose jobs, lip injections, things of that nature. And then also for a year and a half, I was setting appointments for women. And actually, it was I did it for a year and a half. I only had one man, but it was mostly women. But one man, I set appointments. So I wasn't a recruiter. I wasn't the person that you talked to when you wanted to get quotes for surgery. I was the person that did just the intake, what it is that you wanted done. And then I set you up an appointment with the coordinator people that you guys would talk to in order to get the quotes and stuff. And I did that for a year and a half. And these are the things that I have learned and gleaned from firsthand. Okay. The first thing that I want to tell you is that never underestimate the power of a regular gym attendance and a good diet. Just putting that out there first and foremost. You would be surprised. Like I literally walk past the mirror sometimes and I am surprised by what I see. Just as a woman who came from being 300 pounds to where I am now in the 180s, like your body can really transform if you give it a chance. And when I was 300 pounds, I had a pancake butt. Literally, I had a flat board like this piece of paper butt. And from being in the gym and doing things, I now have a bottom that pokes out slightly. And I'm saying this because don't underestimate the power of a good diet and a gym, even getting a trainer if you want. Now, 9 times out of 10, before you get this surgery, you are going to have to lose weight or get in shape anyway, if not to get the surgery, to maintain your results. So it's best that you start doing it now if you possibly can, but just don't rule that possibility out. Okay. Now, next thing I need you guys to know is that a BBL will not increase your confidence. Getting bigger breasts will not increase your confidence. I know that you probably think that it will, but it won't. And the women that I know who have done this, not all, listen, if this is not for you, don't get in my comments talking about, that's not me, that's not true. Look, if it don't apply, please let it fly. Those who know who I'm talking to you. But it won't increase your confidence. The women that I know, at least half of them, it actually made their confidence worse. It made their confidence worse. And the reason why I believe it made their confidence worse is because confidence is an inside job. You can be beautiful. You can be built like a brick house, but confidence is something that has to be inside. You know what confidence is? Confidence is warmness and kindness and giving confidence and being able to smile and greet people. A lot of times women who go and get this surgery, it puts them on a competitive defense with other women, especially other women who have surgery, or it puts them in a mindset to think that they're somehow better because they have the plastic surgery. It's not going to increase your confidence. It might just actually do the opposite. And I can tell you that for the ladies out there, I hate when people try to make it seem like natural bodies are better. It just depends on the man. Some men don't like women who have had surgery. Some men don't care. All the men that I know in my circle, the real dudes that I know that are real men, they don't care either way. They want whatever the woman is happy with, so don't assume that, you know, getting your body done will make you more confident, but then also don't assume that getting your body done makes you lesser than those that are natural. So that's the next thing. The next thing I want you guys to know is that having a BBL does not give you a competitive advantage. Meaning, like, getting a bigger butt won't make you more desirable. It may seem like it will, but it won't give you a competitive advantage in terms of your personal equity. Your personal equity is to do with your character and your integrity. So even if you are 300 pounds, you could easily be more attractive to a woman with the BBL because you have personal equity, to a real man at least. You know, you have superficial men out here that won't look at a woman if she's overweight, but they'll look at the woman with a BBL and wonder why they're getting played all the time, and wonder why they are attracting superficial women. Is because they're superficial. So I'm just telling you that it doesn't give you a competitive advantage in a dating game and work life. Even for dancers, I know women who sell their bodies for a living. I know women who are dancers for a living. It doesn't give you a competitive advantage because it's so common nowadays. It's so common nowadays that it doesn't set you apart anymore. I'm not trying to convince nobody to not get the surgery. I'm just telling you stuff that you don't realize until after you get the surgery. Nobody's going to tell you these things. The next thing I want you to know is that you will automatically attract more people, but they will be more superficial people. Once you get a surgery like a BBL, you will automatically become more attractive to people just because of how your body is shaped. And because of that, you will automatically have people around you that don't care about you at all. People that get your phone number, men that get your phone number and they want to spend time with you. These is men that would have never looked at you when you had a flat booty, or maybe didn't have as much booty as you do now, or before you got the implants. You will start to attract those kind of people. And the reason why is because once you do something to enhance your body, you become a magnet for superficial people. And that brings me to my next point. Make sure you have the game that comes with having a nice body like that. Because if not, you end up wasting all that money and you get pregnant right away. You get played for somebody who is a regular natural body person, or you end up with a higher body count of men that are just running through you. I mean, you getting all this attention from all these men, but you don't have the game. You don't have the wisdom on how to sustain that. You understand what I'm saying? So before you go and invest this type of money and this time into getting your body enhanced, getting bigger breasts, getting a bigger butt, make sure you got the game to go with it. Have you some values in place? Like, okay, I don't date men who treat women like this. My man needs to have a high, not a high income, but he needs to have an honest living. Because I'm telling you that the men with the spectacular vernacular are coming. And you will be approached by men that have a different level of game because you have a different level of body. And so if you don't have a game to navigate that, you're going to be caught up. You'll end up pimped out here. I've seen it happen. Women, they good, nice country girls, they go get this surgery. Next thing you know, they on somebody's strip. How do you think that happens? It's because they invested into the wrong thing. I'm not saying don't get your body done. I'm just saying make sure you got the game to go with having that type of body. Make sure that, you understand that when a man is complimenting you on your body, that don't mean he like you. Or make sure that you understand that, when you have a nice figure and you may have a man that offer to take you on a shopping spree or fly you out of town, that doesn't come with no strings attached. If you don't have the game to go with the body, don't get the body yet. Get the game. Get around some men. I grew up around a lot of boys in my life. Mostly all my cousins are males. My father was in my life for the earlier parts of my life. I seen him do a lot of things. So even a pastor, uncle, somebody, but get you some game. Understand the dynamics of the kind of game that men's may play, because if you have the body without the game, you doomed. You very doomed. My next point. Your frame is made for your current assets for a reason. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example of what I mean by that, because a lot of times we go as women and we get these surgeries, but we're not aware that we don't have a frame to support these type of enhancements long term. For example, I have broad shoulders. If you ever play basketball, they do something called like your vertical and stuff like that, and they measure you, right? I have very broad shoulders for a female, right? But I also have a very large chest as well. It fits my frame. My chest is perfect for my frame. But I'm saying that if I didn't have large shoulders, I wouldn't probably be able to support my breasts. The same with my behind. My behind is on my back, literally, if that makes sense. Like it sits on my back, kind of. I will look funny with a big old badunkadunk sticking out. Just the way that my butt is the way that it is positioned on my body to be on my upper back like that. If I was to go and get a badunkadunk, it would look funny. I would look like an ant. In fact, if my booty was to be even bigger than what it is, I believe I would look like an ant. So what I'm saying is that God made you in a very particular way in terms of what you can handle. You'll be surprised when I was doing that consults, like I was not consults, but when I was doing the scheduling for surgeries for the doctor in Miami, you'll be surprised at how many women would come back and say that they wanted to get a reduction in their BBLs. Because see, you don't know that you can't sustain bigger boobs, or you don't know that you can't sustain a bigger behind until after you get it. So I'm just telling you to make sure that that's something that you consider before you go all out and do it. Okay. Consider your frame. With this BBL, this is one that's very in particular to BBL surgeries. But for those of you who are thinking about BBL surgeries, understand that it's a high chance that you may have a hemorrhoid problem for a while after. I know that's not the part of surgery that they want to talk about, but those big booties that you see, whether they're natural or BBLs, you increase your chances of hemorrhoids when you do that. And hemorrhoids don't mean that you're dirty or nothing like that. It's just that the more meat that your butt has, and I'm not trying to be nasty, but I'm trying to put it in the best terms that I can. The more meat that your butt has, it affects the way that your anus is. And that is what causes hemorrhoids. Issues in your anus, fistulas, and things like that. You're more susceptible to that. I know girls that never had hemorrhoids before, but as soon as they got a BBL, they started to get them. So just consider that. Okay. Have a living trust in place, not a will, but an actual living trust. Anything could go wrong with these surgeries, and you don't want to put your family through the issues of having to determine what to do with what. So to prevent that, a living trust is what you want, not a will. Okay. We hear people talk about wills all the time. If you have a written will, you still have to go through probate court, which is a monster. Have a living trust in place, which tells exactly what you want done with your body, exactly what you want done with your kids, with your finances, everything, in case something goes wrong. You have to think like that. It's not calling it upon yourself. It's called being a responsible adult. In fact, if you're over the age of 25, you should have one of those anyways. But specifically, if you're going to get something done that is electively dangerous, like a BBL, get that in place. Okay? My next point kind of goes with this is purchase extra insurance that includes emergency transportation. So if you're going to get your surgery done in another country, before you go out and get your surgery done, purchase you a policy. It's only like $100 more. I'm not talking about the insurance that you have to purchase from your doctor when you go overseas. I'm talking about the insurance that you have to have in case something goes wrong and you need to be hurry up and brought back to the United States. Their policies, Geo Blue, is through Blue Cross and Blue Shield. That's an excellent one. There's all kinds of them, but make sure that you get you a policy that is outside of the normal policy. Even if you're going to be here in the United States, get you some extra insurance in case something goes wrong and you need to be brought back home to your home state or your home city. Okay? Be prepared. Next point is be prepared to be talked about. If you leave on Wednesday flatty patty and you come back Buffy the body, people are going to notice. So just make sure that you don't have to tell people your business. I think it's actually rude for people to ask, have you had surgery? Like, I feel like when people ask me, is this my real hair? I'm not going to say I'm offended, but it is kind of, I consider that to be a little bit rude, right? It is my real hair, but it's like, why does that, why does that matter to you? Now, I'm telling you this if you're thinking about getting your body done, because people are going to notice, especially if you get a BBL or get your boobs done, people will notice and they may ask you. So just be prepared for that. Now, don't feel obligated to give an explanation. You don't owe anybody an explanation for what you do with your body. But just be prepared for that aspect, because a lot of times girls are not prepared for that. And they're like, oh, well, people are so nosy. No, they're not nosy. It's just, you got something done. People want to know. Do I think it's rude? Yes, I do. But just be prepared for that aspect. Okay. Another thing is get as close as you can to your goal weight as possible before the surgery. So whatever, and I'm not talking about they have these charts where it's like, if you're like, for me, I'm 5'5". I think I'm supposed to be, technically, to not be obese, I'm supposed to be like 140 or something like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about whatever is comfortable for you. Get as close to that weight as you can, because what you don't want to do is spend all of that money on getting a BBL and then you lose weight after, or you gain weight. Because let me tell you something, gaining weight after a BBL, it looks very weird, because you don't gain weight in the areas where the fat was sucked from. You gain weight in other areas, like right here and like right here, and like, you gain weight in very, very weird areas. So have a plan in place that you already are close to your goal weight, and that you have a mind of discipline. For example, I work out 5 days a week, try to eat as healthy as I can. And even though I'm not getting the BBL, this is a practice of a discipline that I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life. I'm going to always work out 5 days a week, unless I'm sick or something like that, or, something. I'm going to always pay attention to what I eat. This is a lifestyle for me now. So all I'm saying is make sure that you already have that lifestyle in place before you go and get this surgery. 2 more things and then I'm done. Okay. Breast implant and enhancement syndrome is very real. Now let me get serious about this. There was an interview done not too long ago with Kalani, famous singer, and she talked about how her breast implants literally started to make her mentally and physically sick. Again, this is not something that you know until after you have the surgery. Okay. The same thing could happen with a BBL. Drika Gates, Kevin Gates' ex-wife, or I don't know if they're still married, whatever. She had a similar story about this. When I was doing my undergrad in psychology, we briefly touched on this as well. When you put things in your body that were not originally there, or even if it's your own fat and you putting it in areas where it wasn't originally, that could cause mental illness. Not everybody experiences this, right? Not everybody who gets breast implants gets this syndrome. Not everybody who gets a BBL gets this syndrome, but I'm telling you that it is a very real thing. So make sure that when you get in these surgeries that you take God with you, and that to prevent these sorts of things, because people don't talk about that. When you see them Instagram models and stuff like that, and you see them on TikTok, they don't tell you about the depression that all of a sudden came. Or like one girl, we were doing stuff when I was doing my studies, one girl, she had developed schizophrenia from it. So that I just want you to know that it's called like body enhancement syndrome, I think is the correct medical term for it, but it's very real. And it's not something that's talked about, but just pray that doesn't happen to you, because it can. Okay. And the very last and final thing, and I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, give you guys the rest of your day back, is that there's no such thing as the perfect body. Why? Even when you get a BBL, baby, no matter how cold your body is, one day you will get old. One day your breasts are going to drop. Even if you get plastic surgery to make them stand up and sit and look at you like two eyes, like how I'm looking at the camera right now, one day they will drop. Your booty, you won't have that booty all the way up into your 80s. And if you do, you know what's going to happen? It's going to start to droop a little bit. I'm not against plastic surgery. I think that people should do whatever they should want to do to make themselves happy. I'm not against it. But I think that a lot of times we go into these situations not realizing what it is that we really and truly doing and what is our motive behind doing it. Right. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to make this episode today. There's no such thing as the perfect body. Your body is always going to be a 0 compared to somebody else's body. Your body is always going to be a 10 right now. Whatever body, even if you are 500 pounds, there's somebody that wishes they had your body. You know why? Because some people can't walk. Some people can walk, but they can't see. So even if you 500 pounds, that person that can't see and can't walk would gladly switch places with you. If you are a petite woman and you don't have breasts, there's somebody who has breast cancer and they would rather take your small little A cup if it could mean that they don't have breast cancer no more. So what I'm saying is that your body is perfect to somebody. If you got a man or a woman in your life who keep making comments and telling you that you need to get surgery, man, that person is superficial. Don't get surgery or don't go get no BBL because people are making jokes about you having a flat booty. You know what I used to tell people when people tell me that I had a flat booty? At least it's clean. Yep, at least it's clean. It may be flat, but at least it's clean. I done got a few little gains now because I'm in the weightlifting part of my journey now. So I do have some gains, but even still, my booty is considered flat to some people. It's still now. And I know that it didn't start poking out there. So what I'm saying is that there's no such thing as the perfect body because the perfect body varies from person to person. And so if you're getting this surgery thinking that you're going to arrive, I'm going to tell you something. As soon as you get that surgery, it's going to be something else that you want to fix about yourself. You may go and get your booty done. Now you want your boobs done. Now you want your back done. Do you know that they got surgeries out here where you can get your ribs removed to have a smaller waist? I'm not judging. I'm just simply stating the facts, people, that there is no such thing as the perfect body. And if you got somebody that's trying to pressure you into getting surgery, man, drop that mark. Drop that mark because plastic surgery should be a you thing. This should be something that you want to do for your body. Maybe you know, even in my weight loss groups that I'm in, there's a lot of women that's going and getting their bodies done after losing a lot of weight. Do it if that's what you want to do. But I just wanted to make this video today, make this episode today to make sure that you are just aware of the facts, being aware of what it is that you're really getting yourself into. Okay? Keep it locked. We'll be back for question of the day.
Are you looking for a podcast that is strictly for your children? We've got just the thing for you. Zambian-born YouTube sensation Angela Chimpende now has a podcast out called Stories for Kids. This includes all kinds of stories for children, including history for children. Check out the link in the description to get more information on this podcast. If you're looking for communities with Heartbreak Hill Podcast, join our private Facebook group called Heartbreakers. The link is in the description of this show to join. Heartbreak Hill Podcast is now offering one-on-one sessions to help you with your podcast. Please visit our website to learn more information on how we can help you with your podcast. In order to help you get started with your journey, we are now offering a free podcast checklist. Please visit our website for more information on this checklist.
All right, and you guys are just now joining. Thank you so much for being here. We just finished with a phenomenal episode entitled Before the BBL. For those of our girlies or some of our boys who are thinking about getting a BBL surgery or any kind of enhancement, breast enhancements, nose surgeries, whatever it is that you want to do, I really implore you to go back and listen to this episode. I also wanted to let you guys know that we are offering one-on-ones, okay, for getting your podcast started. If you head over to our website, we have a free podcast planning checklist that you can download right on your phone. You can download it on your iPad, whatever it is. And it kind of gives you a visual of the steps you can take to get your podcast started. Outside of that, we are now offering one-on-ones. Okay. One of the things that we got, one of our most requested things last year was how are we going to implement helping people get started. Okay, pretty soon I am going to be offering one-on-one coachings as well. I just got to get, and by one-on-one coaches, I mean like one-on-one life sessions where you talk to me about the things that are going on. I don't have the time in my schedule for that right now, but that's actually the second highest request that we get here on the podcast. But for right now, for sure, what we're offering you for sure is help with getting your podcast started, growing it. If you want to get on radio, TV, Heartbreak Hill podcast is on TV. We're on radio. We can help you get to that next level. Okay. Question of the day, and then we're going to get out of here. So this is from Patrice, Long Island, New York. Okay, New York. Hello, Rose. Even if you do not read this question on air, can you please respond? Of course I will. By the way, guys, if you ever write in, it may take me a while, but I will respond. If it's not me, it is somebody from our team. We actually just hired a facilitator to help me with these emails to respond to, but I don't get a chance to read them all on air. There's actually a person that randomly selects these questions. So a lot of the times I don't even see these questions outside of the email inbox if I don't see it until the first time I'm reading it on air. So just FYI about that. If you don't get your question read on air, it's not personal. These are literally drawn at random. I do look at them, but sometimes my first time seeing them is till right now. So anyway, hello, Rose. Even if you don't read this question, Patrice from Long Island, New York. Hello, Rose. Even if you don't read this question on air, can you please respond? I am really in need of guidance. For most of my adult life, I have been a stud woman. I have lots of male friends, and for the most part, I live my life as a male. However, as I get older, I am curious about the feminine side of me. I still don't find males attractive, but I do find myself wanting to be more of a woman. She put woman in quotation marks. I'm afraid if I start dressing like a girl, or if I decide to be straight, I will lose the respect of those around me. Excuse me. How can I continue to evolve while keeping the same respect of my peers? Well, Patrice, I would tell you that, well, first of all, if you're not walking in your integrity, they already don't respect you, right? So, like, if you are not wanting to be a stud woman anymore, right? And you still are being a stud woman because you think that it's going to make people like you or respect you more, they already don't respect you. And what I mean by that is when a person is living an inauthentic lifestyle, it shows. You think you fooling everybody, but everybody can tell already. And so you don't have to make a decision on your sexuality, but I don't see any problems with getting to know that more feminine or softer side of yourself while you're in that current season of being a stud. If you decide later on that as you slowly start getting into your feminine nature and doing feminine things and not dressing like a boy, if that's not what you want to do, then don't do it. But I would tell you, don't let your decision be the people around you. If you respect, you don't get more respect because you dress like a boy. That's not, I'm sorry if you think that, but that's not what it is. You don't get more respect from being a stud. You get respect by, first of all, giving respect and then being a person of good character and integrity. That's the only way that you get respect in this world. What you do and what you say has to match, and then you have to treat people with respect. So anything outside of that, is uncivilized. Anything outside of that is uncivilized. And so I think that if you are wanting to start doing more feminine things, I do want to make a clear distinction that femininity and masculinity are not outside things. So there are women who wear baggy clothes and dress like a boy that are more feminine than women who wear mini skirts and tight jeans. Femininity is not something you see. Femininity is something that you feel. So a lot of people got it wrong. They think, okay, if a girl got a mouthful of gold teeth and she carrying a pistol, she must be masculine. No, you don't understand what feminine and masculine is. You can say girly, she's a girly girl. If you like girly girls, then okay, that has to do with outward appearance. That's outward appearance stuff. But femininity is a spirit. It's an essence. It's how you can come in and command. It's a gentleness. So when you have a woman that's being rough and she's being rowdy with her energy, I'm a boss, that's masculine. But that's something that you feel based on the things that she's saying and doing, not based on something that you could see. So I really want you to dive into the fact that you can be a feminine stud as well. If you have a gentle and quiet nature about you, if people grow around you, if people just feel like they can do anything around you and they feel empowered and inspired, that's feminine energy. But if you really and truly don't want to be a stud no more, don't be a stud no more, and don't make no announcements about it. Be who you are authentically and unapologetically. If you feel that it's going to make your peers stop respecting you, they not your real peers. Listen here, folks. We're here for a good time, not a long time. Patrice, I hope I answered your question. Y'all, if you got questions, go ahead and send them in. DM me. Otherwise, you can write into the podcast, okay? I love you guys, and we will see you guys next week.